moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The green demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? She must have written the thing. I think it's a bad plan. According to the data which have been appraised, it will appear that there were no visible signs of struggle, of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by cerebral venom. She even knows how he died. While Mr. Sholmes is true, there are no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma's body. That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seemed to be unaware of the very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Exactly. Yes, it all seems so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. No? Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebra is fatal. Only Goliath will be strong enough to survive that. Seems stronger than some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out, anyway. We have the good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can't reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it's the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? How the fuck he died? I'm still confused at this part. Okay, we examine that C's bar will prove the cause of conclusive death. Okay, in other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. Yeah, it's a distinct possibility. So yeah, the weapon has been found now? Presumably Darka didn't decide to creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. That would be impressive, I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. Could have been a terrible act of misfortune, but he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a mere fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe that Kazuma-sama though. He wasn't a clumsy man, I agree with that statement. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. After that, is there anything from the scene that could have explained what happened? You mean this? Oh.
Yes!
Okay, it isn't the mark on the floor. Yes, an examination of the mark of the floor will prove the cause of death. Consistent, this particular mark, superiorly visible to the next victim's body and the possible shoe polish. He slipped? Shoe polish? Did he actually slip? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Be what? Tallow, dye, were my results. Then the number ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Soggy lace leather shoes. Looking at this mark is not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Soggy must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his head against some immovable object as he fell on the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebra shattered and in that instant he lost his life. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Soggy lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could conceal incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you choose. That's right, you hide evidence that links you to the victim's death in the traveling case. No? I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true, I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But maybe this part of Mr. Shaw's deduction is right. He's probably always trying to hide some evidence that will prove it. Here in his cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her ears. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. That's right, you had to return and get the links. Behind the tiara? You hit the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the... This is the tiara? What's she been trying to hide? Oh, somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. It has been dropped, Naruhodo. It's been placed. I'm starting to sound like Mr. Jones. So I'm trying to sound like the great detective. So he's not into... There's nothing. Where Miss Paula hid her as a friend. That's right, and he wasn't a snake after all. When he was a little kitten, she called out, Okay. I'm still very confused. She brought herself around someone's head, somewhere trying to make a new friend. Either that or he's scratching their hands to pieces. The point is, where has he got to go? I don't think it's a tiara. Right? You hit the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling cave. This waste paper basket perhaps all first-class cabin. Left them. Miss Pablo only started occupying this cabin the last night. So there's not much rubbish in there yet. There is he. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? God damn it, I even examined it beforehand so you even didn't fucking see it. This is of key importance. You will see a piece of glass, or purple even, but like you've seen somewhere before. It looks familiar. Perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. No, it's not my mind.
Yes!
That's right. You hit evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah. Here we have the fragment of some integrated glass object, it would seem, one that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely, we found another piece of broken glass on the floor with Mr. Asogi cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that a part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Why do you call it waste paper? Trash bin? You're really acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know. Is that a harsh Russian accent of yours won't save you this time? Yet go. Why? Because we have a conclusive evidence linking you to the band in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. Evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell. That will be the photograph?
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see. Hanging from Dark's collar. Darker. The very glass bell in question. The rest caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that, the cause of fateful stumble. Your absent feline friend, Dark. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. He actually slipped and died? Okay, that by tripping over a cat. Shit. Kazuma, you are so cool. Kazuma, why you had a Kazuma death? Oh no. Is this really the truth? Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. Not only you try to kill, you killed someone, you only lead to criminal charges towards someone else. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to fed Daka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say the cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast, she appeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired a rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes, and I had read the rules on the wall. Knew what I was not allowed the Daga with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious disease, you know, it's a precaution really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it was safe to try to route the kitten back again. But luckily, then the toy to the ventilator in the adjoining cabin. Aga was slowly saw, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. The faint whistling sound Kazuma wrote about in his diary was Miss Paola trying to retrieve her path. Cats have a prosperity to remain hidden in the shadow were frightened. Yeah, so there was nothing else I could do. I had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... I nearly passed out with shock. Heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. I was totally silent. Kazuma was. For the appearance of the brown mark of the floor, seemed likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The Sasaburi is a large vessel, by when she can pitch or roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet. The combination of a furtive factor could easily have caused him to fall over. What became of the kitten afterward? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yeah, Daga is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. Now she disappeared again. Gracious. That cat is insufferable restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that young man in the cabin next to the mine had died, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone that had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they will send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? Snake isn't your friend, Miss Paola, then who is it? And where did it come from? What are any such dangerous creature doing on aboard the ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name Pirosco. Pirosco? What? What? The snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was lucky for him. You accept to find him in here. Yes, how did a snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Huh. Well, see, for 1 year. You want to be long without close friend, without someone who understands. You'll find someone a little more human, who understands you better. I believe the snake brings less diseases. But my dear buddy friend, fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake, surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Huh? Most snake doesn't have venom. Ryunosuke does not have venom. He's harmless, very long, but very gentle. He's adorable, like Granny. Granny? It's venomless. Yes, now he's angry, as he's in a bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see a big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Like they say, they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. But dogs that eat mouses. Big, fat, round mouses. Are you okay, man? Oh, sorry. that what the mousetrap in the puzzle out there is for? Of course. How else I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look of their eyes right now. You seem a bit disappointed. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord. It's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept to land a starting rule? It's not my fault. I don't make up stories. My Piroska has nothing to do with this incident. Well, so that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Gruesome, lamesome, and sad, I guess. But wait a minute. Who did he write that note? Miss Pavlova! I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. You are going to attempt to cover up your guilty with lies. Then no matter what the circumstance, I cannot forgive you. But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pilova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events, an accident. I'm not a great detective like Mr. Sholmes, but I will give for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? I still, to be perfectly honest, yes, there's something missing. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's stores, I'm sure of it. Just can't quite put a finger on it. The sign? I confess, I was intended to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issue on this matter. Oh. I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Wait, what? Not again. When did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made out our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owe him my freedom even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. We must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this discrepancy in Miss Palova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died, or how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Very well. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin? Yes. Well, we should ponder first. The victim who lost his life in a cabinet that was bolted apart from the inside. Was it truly an unfortunate incident, or was it in fact no incident at all? That's what we must establish in the first instance. We already established it, haven't we? Man tripped over a kitten that has climbed into his cabin. Yeah, ventilator. Tragic. Yes, but still.
Hold it!
Wait, let's just take a step back. Doesn't make sense if there's really what happened, does it? That's it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take a shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Palova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Too much struggle, you mean? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally the victim's death was no mere accident.
Yes!
Truth! It's clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. The script is Russian, isn't it? Indeed, it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people will leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. Makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained here. Damage to the core cervical resulting in instant death. Instant death. Someone else write it down. Which means after everything fell on the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A matter of something that couldn't possibly have been there, but that Miss Pavla told us was true. What? So Susada-san has noticed it too then. Put your message on the floor aside. There's something else that gives the truth away. A piece of evidence that proves it was not incident. What the fuck is it? This thing?
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But there's a glass belt Kitten had around his neck. You already know that about that. It was broken how when the victim creeped over and the cat fell. You already have a satisfactory explanation of where the flaw in that logic is. Oh yeah, the pieces should be staying there. Why the hell she had one of the pieces with her? Fortunately, there is a very big flaw. A further flaw. What? Is that really what happened? Then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in the waste paper basket. Wouldn't you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oof. Oh, these pieces are evidently point to the same conclusion. Then, okay. There was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth. In order to cover up her own guilt. Yeah! Yeah! Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's. You're wasting time. Someone else was there? Duh, of course. We know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from the inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. The only other person in the cabin, young student, and I was you. It's true, it was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe to be precise about the details. I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Not would have, there's no way you could have left the message. To be precise about the details, would you mind? Forgive me, dear fellow. What? As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor. He tried to incriminate me for the crime even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass belt that had fallen on the floor. For fear it becoming evident that will show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell that way? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely have cast any light onto the floor. Yet I wonder then the culprit failed to notice a fragment of a tiny item. You'll suspect me, don't you? Siemens Drugnov. Text display. The sign. Nina is woman of sea. She's daughter of a strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skill and she went away to join ballet company. But before she was dancer on this ship, member of ship's band. Do not accuse ship agent of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when you was young student, Nina was there in his cabin. But it's not possible I give my tooth. Well, it's almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You're a great detective, you should know. Look through eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go in the cabin, no need, no enemy. And you want to tell me the killer can walk through locked throughs? Yet, it's possible. He's right. Wait, I've read about these detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches. Oh my god, you still the same fucking door latches, right? Are you stupid? Spoke are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are way-tight doors, and I would expect to find on any modern steamship. The structure and heavy steel, with no gap inside, no threads or needles or magnets have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. You actually told me. But Mr. Naruhodo says that he'd early, so that, how could you shift it on me like that? So, Seaman Strongono has a valid point. The cabin door could have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I believe to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, you can see the trace of the method having in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, do you? We should shadow the cabin door from the outside. Yes. And why does spring in mind? Yes. You really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Maybe you have, so would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Without telling sides of the matter that he used to like having the rope across the outside.
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things have toppled over? That must have been when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small object that are fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe, yes, is what known as the force of inertia acting on the object. Is there nothing Susato doesn't know? Well, that is in her book at least. Well, whatever it is called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. It had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello? Is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Well, I know that. Okay. Inspector Sonagawa. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across the lock at the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's more than light enough to be moved by a ship's sudden change of speed. The fault of inertia, yeah, inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night after Mr. Sogi was killed? As I said, buddy, I made another emergency stop. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought I looked a little odd. The books on the shelf had toppled over and all the ornaments. It's almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then when they came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing here. But the books and everything had to topple over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin. Oh my. Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Yeah, out of your mind, you said Buria made a emergency stop. That seemed a little bit far-fetched, but how could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine's room. Oh, it is simple enough. They forgot to the bottom in the passageway outside. Used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency. The dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes and look out alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. Oh, damn it. No more battery for my lovely thingy. Oh, It's gone. Oh, it's come back. But it's almost compelled to press satisfy one curiosity. Wait, it was you? At the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed a little earlier today. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a butler has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He's almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with the ship? Go to the captain, much trouble now. No, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us now overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider... Yes, it all comes to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi. Did his ship make an emergency stop, or did it not? The idiots board a huge ship and many passengers. If we make manage stop even in the middle of night, there will chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. Have evidence to support that idea? Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good friend. The logbook.
Yes!
Seaman Strognov, is your duty to patrol the first class area of the ship, isn't that right? That is correct. Wait. When this ship log here, this will be where the record of the details of your duties. What are you doing with it? There's mine! Now you rather carelessly left at the top of the little makeshift buoy in the passage without with dear. As a responsible passenger, we took it into our care, amounts of returning to you later. You left it there on purpose, that's where I put it always. Point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write a phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. From 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log? That is... Duh, because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed, so which tell us that shortly after 2 AM, something happened. Here aboard the SS Buria. Something sufficiently significant? Make you forget fill the ship log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really didn't make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish. If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed. That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, the alarm bell was so loud. I can imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of the night. Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry? What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. You have all suffered with it. Oh, yes. I had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Well, have I? My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yeah, but still. Yes, you're all being afflicted, haven't you? Just as expected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt so hazy. I don't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. That's the first thing I noticed in the morning was the throbbing pain in my head. Had I already been dragged out of the wardrobe? In chain, those handcuffs. Why didn't I wake up when all that happened to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. Boarded his vessel out of stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes, sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What use survival? Oh well, Kazuma looked after me. Was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoy some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I think? Yes, in fact. With all of that, Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Oh really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow. Does that not strike you? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken? I do. No, really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passenger last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by additional sulfuric, designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consume it. A sleeping drug? You mean, whoever did this lays every meal this sleeping drug so no one will notice the ship emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. But if it's that true, it was no mere accident. Precisely. Placing every meal, every passenger on board with a sulfuric drug will certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Sholmes? Well, seaman. I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to tell, there will have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And where that will happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, will be hauled over to the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. Ooh. Please, no. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are former comrades, I believe. Yes, so when I decided to run away, we all agreed to help. We'll run together. She threw away everything, her fame, Interballet, Mother Russia, in order to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. You put sleeping drugs in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing up a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Though we could not make good drug. How do you say? Dissolve? Huh? Talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was held by comrade on shore with small fishing boat. My old passenger was as bored as slept soundly. Thanks to the almost magical effects of slumber-inducing potion, even in meals that I've contained. So if that what happened, were people awake on the ship last night? With the crew, people who dislike chicken and then you were aboard the passenger, Miss Pavlova. That means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case. There would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Oh, of course, just like us. All the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal chicken in their cabins, after which they will have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drugs. Quite. And accordingly... Oh, I missed that? Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers will habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so no one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door of the ship, the Gobri brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked long time and said many things. What is point? The point is that I said earlier, there was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone would left a message in Russian on the floor in a time of incriminating other. Someone would try desperately to hide the broken fragment of glass that will reveal the culprit's identity. and someone will use the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. Just a little girl. I'd like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I'm a sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories we don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what is seen with our eyes. I'm gonna... laudable trait. Laudable trait. I'm gonna say very quickly. So, yeah.
Objection!